Hello, hello, my awesome family. This is DLT, the host of the Awesome Music Show, and it's my pleasure to be with you again tonight for another episode in the Awesome Music Show. We have some wonderful guests in the joining us tonight, both in studio and online, and we give God thanks for their time and the input that they're going to be giving to the show. As usual, it's another awesome day given to an awesome God to do some awesome things, and some awesome things we will do tonight with the show. Wherever you're joining us from, we thank you for supporting the Awesome Music Show, and we thank you also for being an ardent supporter of the Awesome Music Show from year one. Now we're in year two, and we give God thanks for your support. We have very, very exciting shows coming up, and those shows you will see as we continue to go further in the show. So we give God thanks for you tonight, and we pray that you will just share the link with your family and your friends so that they can also be a part of this live experience. There is a former guest that was on the show. His name is Kama Irvin. He released his debut single today on all digital platforms, and I want to start the show with that video. Uh, and it's called Baba, I Look to You. And that's one of the powerful songs that you can use to strengthen yourself during this time. So be blessed as we share this lovely, lovely song from Karma Irvin, I Look to You. All right, so be blessed, and then we will go right into the show. Be blessed.
I look to you, only you. Where would I be if it wasn't for you? What would I say if it was for your grace? Where would I go if I didn't have you? I look to you, Baba, I look to you. I look to you, Baba, I look to you. I look to you, Baba, I look to you. I look to you, Baba, I look to you. No food on my table, Lord, what do I do? No money in my pocket, oh, what do I do? When all is well, Lord, who do I look to? I look to you, Baba, I look to you. I look to you, Baba, I look to you. And I call your name, Jesus, I call your name. I call your name, for your name is great. When there seems to be no hope, what do I do? When I feel like I am dying, Lord, what do I do? When there's nobody to turn to, who
Great song coming to us from Kama Irvin. And his song is one of those songs that you can use to encourage yourself during this time and every season of your life when you have no money, when you have no friends, when you feel as if there's no hope. We can always look to God. I'm excited to host the show tonight because we have a very special guest that will be joining us a few minutes later in the show. He's a Jamaican medical student from Ukraine, and you know all the happenings currently going on in Ukraine, and we want to highlight him tonight and hear his personal testimony coming face to face with the cruel hands of war and all that's happening in Ukraine, between Ukraine and Russia. And we just continue to pray for all the persons living there in both countries and all the things that are happening. We know it's end time. We know the Bible is fulfilling, but at the same time, we have to still pray for those who are calling on the name of the Lord. And the song is fitting for the start of the show. Baba, I look to you, meaning Father, I look to you. Also, to start off the show, I have my co-hosts with me, a wife and husband team of Nigel and Simone Johnson, and they are with me tonight. Simone will be with us for the earlier parts of the show. Then she'll have to make way to her husband to continue helping me to co-host this wonderful show tonight. So wherever you're joining from, I may not be able to see all the names because sometimes when I'm live, I'm not able to see all the names. But wherever you're joining from, you can also post questions in the chat, and I'll be able to see those. If you have questions for Simone or Nigel, or even for Joel Tolo as he comes on tonight, you can post those in the chat and do my best to highlight those questions or comments. All right. So thank you so much. Share the link with your family and your friends so that they can be a part of this wonderful experience. Today is April 1. And as usual, we always call it All Fools Day. So I'm hoping since the start of today, nobody tricked anybody or did anything crazy to mess up anybody's day. And we all had a wonderful day. I had a wonderful day, and it's my pleasure to share with you tonight on the Awesome Music Show. So to kick things off, I have with me Mrs. Simone Johnson and Mr. Nigel Johnson, wife and husband. I call them the power couple because they are in two of the leading sectors, or I would call disciplines in the world right now, and that's education and the medical field. But I'll start off with Simone. She is a registered nurse and she's also a nurse educator. So I'd want to talk to her about the most important thing that's happening around the world right now is that a lot of people are losing their minds because of the impact of COVID 19 and the recession, and also other things that are happening. As much as Ukraine and the situation in Ukraine is that far, I'm sure it's still affecting people. So I want to talk to you tonight, Simone, about um, people or viewers maintaining their mental health in this time and other times to come, because I'm sure there are going to be other pandemics, there are going to be other world crises that people will have to face. So talk to us a little bit from your experience about maintaining good mental health in these times.
All right. Good night, everyone, and thank you, Dayle, for having us tonight. We're
Yes.
excited to be here. And that topic that you mentioned is such a relevant topic tonight and today in the world with everything that's going on. As healthcare professionals and as people, we're experiencing a lot of global crisis, and the
Yes.
pandemic has exacerbated that quite a bit.
Hmm.
I believe that the pandemic did not just potentiate mental strain on many people, but it has
Right.
also highlighted the importance of prioritizing our mental health and well-being. And so tonight, I feel like it's just such a an awesome discussion and an awesome topic, because I do feel like it is often minimized the importance of us, ministering to our mental health and well-being.
Right. Right.
So I think that one of the things that is very important is for us to be self aware. Oftentimes, we don't take the time to even recognize that we're under mental strain. And sometimes we feel distressed, we feel overwhelmed with life's situation. I mean, we have a pandemic, and in the midst of the pandemic, we have other social and political and global crises that's going on.
Hmm.
And many employers, many institutions have not instituted many strategies to help to, engage employees and to make sure that, they are ministering to that side of their well-being. And
Right.
so tonight, I kind of want to talk about some strategies that we can do in Christendom and other places and other institutions to make sure that we're really prioritizing and focusing on our mental health and well-being.
Right.
Now, first, as I mentioned before, we have to be self aware. And as clinicians or healthcare professionals or other disciplines, it's very important, first and foremost, to make sure that we're in tune with our own self. Sometimes we get burned out, and we're the first person to even recognize that we're burned out, but somehow we minimize it. We're just tired, we're overwhelmed, and we push it in the back burner of our minds and decide to just move forward without even taking care of it. So the first thing I want to say, make sure that you're in tune with your own thoughts and feelings, and make sure that you take the necessary step when you recognize that you're burnt out to do something about it.
Yes.
Um, there are a few strategies that I noted from this article titled Prioritizing the Mental Health and Well-Being of Healthcare Workers that I think is relevant, not just for healthcare workers, but for many, is that we must first start to engage in spiritual practices. And we're on a show that talks about an awesome God, awesome music. And so even with the song that started the show, it talks about looking to God. And so
Yes.
it's very important that we engage and we try to build a relationship with God. So prior spiritual practices, relaxation are some of the very important strategies to make sure that we maintain our mental health and well-being. Additionally, exercising regularly and taking time with family, taking a vacation time is very important to also enhance our mental health and well being. I will say that sometimes we don't take that necessary step to do that, but we have to make sure that in addition to eating and sleeping, we have to make time for exercising and relaxation, being mindful, taking a time to just sit outside and just feel the breeze, walking in the park with your family. All of that helps to reset us and help to ground us and to help us to be a little bit more mentally well. um, and finally, I want to highlight developing a hobby. Sometimes we don't really think about hobbies when we're trying to, do the grind, as they would say, every day just to make the money and everything. But really and truly, we have to, in the midst of it all, in the midst of trying to make life, we have to develop a hobby so because it helps us to relax and it helps us to remember what life is really about because it's something that we usually enjoy. So overall, I want to close off by saying this is the statement that one of my colleagues, she always says. She's also a nurse, and she always says that there's no good health without mental health and well-being. And so tonight, I want to encourage us all to make sure that we take that time to really spend time to be with ourselves, be in tune with ourselves, because at the end of the day, without a good mental health, we have no good health. So that's my piece on mental health and the importance of it in this time.
Great, great, great. Thank you so much for sharing. I'm sure this is something that we can carry on in our daily lives. And so many times, I think, Simone, we ignore signs that our bodies are telling us that something is off with us. And it doesn't necessarily mean that people normally taboo, we're getting mad or we're getting crazy. There's just something that's there's an imbalance. There's something that we need to, as you call it, self become self-aware or get in tune with your inner self. So I think a lot of times there are signs but we ignore them.
Hmm.
So I really, really thank you tonight. You ended with the powerful statement, there's no good health without good mental health. I hope I got it right.
Yes.
So if you remember nothing else about all that she spoke about, I'm sure that you can leave tonight with that statement. There's no good health without good mental health. So you could exercise all you want, eat all the good food you want. If your mental state is not proper, then everything else will be off. So that's a powerful statement, and we can rest assured that this will carry us into greater days ahead. And thank you so much for sharing
Thank you
as
for
well.
having me.
I see on the chat we have Juanita McCurdy Davis. Thank you so much for joining as well on the platform, on the YouTube platform, and we actually on Facebook, sorry, and for being a part of the Awesome Music Show. We hope that you are enjoying the show, and we have much more to come. We also need to do a follow up with Mrs. Johnson, because this is just a snippet of all the information that she would want to share with us. So we definitely have to plan a part 2 for this show as well for Mrs. Johnson. So thank you so much, Simone, for
Thank you for
sharing your
having me.
wonderful information with us, and it's been really really good. All right, so I want to turn my attention before we go to our main guest, to her husband, who is in a field that somehow complements the medical field, and that's education. He's actually a math educator, a subject that so many of us has never mastered, and but he is a math educator, and he's been working in the US. He worked in Jamaica for a while, working in the US for a while, and he has a very extensive knowledge of that subject. So I want to talk to him tonight about the importance of young people making good educational choices, because we see right around the world right now, not just in Jamaica or in the US or several other countries, but right around the world, young people making the wrong choices, which leads them into all kinds of situations: crime, drugs, um, teenage pregnancy, all those kinds of things. So I want to talk to him a little bit about his experience in the classroom and in the education system, and young people making great educational choices.
Yes, and thank you so much for having me tonight, Dale. Before I go though, before I answer your question,
Yes.
I see Juanita
Yes.
in the chat. She and I, we go back a long way. We
Great,
were
great, great.
neighbors. Strangely enough, it was only a few days ago that I remembered her and her sister. We were neighbors back growing up in Oldham.
Mm-hmm.
And I was trying to figure out a way that I could get back in touch with them, because it was her and her sister and
Yes.
her nephew. I remember I was thinking about them the other day. So definitely we definitely have to link up after the show, find some way
Yes.
to reconnect. But so it's good to hear from you, Juanita. All right, and to your question, Neil, yes, it's sometimes tough when you think about the kids that you have and decisions that they sometimes make.
Mm-hmm.
Um, some of it is a product of their environment. Unfortunately, I do have kids. Working in Jamaica, I had kids who grew up in a system where,
Yes.
gangs were in charge of everything, and they ran everything. And that led to a lot of bad decisions. Some of those kids are no longer with us.
Mm-hmm.
Brilliant kids who did not finish school.
Wow.
So it is pretty important to go ahead and to make the correct decisions in regard to your education. You need to have a plan,
Mm-hmm.
whatever it is, and having a plan doesn't necessarily mean that you have to plan to go to college, but have a plan.
Definitely.
Get training, whatever it is that you plan to do. Get training, set a goal, and have that goal in mind. It always helps to write down your goals. Sometimes when we say, okay, you know what, next year I'm going to do this next year, but by next week we forget it. But when you
Mm-hmm.
write it down, physically write it down and have it in front of you, whether it is on your refrigerator, whether it is in a notebook, as a screenshot on your phone, something that helps. But having a plan is vitally important. We tend so much. There's a saying. If you fail to plan, you
Plan
plan,
to
then you
fail.
plan to fail.
Yes.
And we find that a lot of our kids, that's where they end up. And there's a tendency to blame the kids, but sometimes we as parents also need to take some responsibility there. You have a teenager, same thing with a teenager. They're thinking like a teenager. They're not
Hmm.
thinking like a 30-year-old or a 45-year-old. And
Yes.
sometimes it is that guiding hand that is missing to help them to steer them in that right decision, that right direction as well.
Yes.
And that's one of the struggles that a lot of my kids have had.
Hmm.
You know, I lost. I remember a year and a half ago, there was a student who was supposed to have been at school. He wasn't there, um, and he never came back. He never
Wow.
came back. He was out in the street doing this thing in the street, and the street took him.
Wow.
Unfortunately.
Hmm.
So it's a combination of things, and at the center of everything, we have to put God at the center of everything.
Hmm.
We
Definitely.
have to seek after Him, seek to find out what it is, what is His purpose, what is His plan for us. Because a lot of times we are so busy trying to come up with our own thing, do our own thing,
Hmm.
and that in itself leads to a lot of bad decisions.
Definitely.
I'm not going to go on anymore, but
Mhm.
again, it's really good to be on this show. First time on the show, but
Yes.
yeah.
All right, all right. Thank you so much for sharing, and you'll be staying on with me for the remainder of the show. I know your wife has to leave, so that's fine. And we really thank you for being on the
Thank
show,
you.
Mrs. Johnson, and we thank you for your contribution. So Nigel will remain on the show with me as my co-host, as he spoke about so many sad situations and even losing some of his students to the streets, and we know that what that is in the news recently we have seen where just the first week of school we have lost like two young men from two different institutions in Jamaica, and I'm sure there are other cases that we just haven't heard about. So we know exactly when he talks about making proper educational decisions, exactly what he's talking about. And we just as parents, or even if you don't have a child of your own, you can still steer a child in the right direction. You can stop them on the street and just talk to them, try to figure out what their plans are, what their goals are for their future, what career path they're trying to take, and you can help them to be steered in that proper direction. And that's really good. So as we gear up to invite our very special guest on the platform tonight, Mr. Joel Tolo, he will be coming on tonight to talk to us about his choices as a young student in Jamaica, which led him to travel all the way to Ukraine, so many miles away, to become a medical student. And he'll be telling us about his journey and also his return to Jamaica and what caused the return. So, as we prepare to have Mr. Tolo on tonight, we just want you to be blessed. And also, as he prepares to come on tonight, I want you to also remember that on Monday we'll be live again on Monday. I'll be having a very special guest on Monday to do the awesome word of week. And the same person will be back on Friday to talk about her book that she has written. And we will be highlighting the book in that show on Friday. So we want you to be on for Monday, April 4, and also on Friday, April 4. Two different times, but we will be sharing in on our social media platforms the times when the shows will be held so that you can be a part of that show. So, Mr. Joel Tolo, once you're ready, let us know so that we can bring you on and you can be a part of this wonderful experience on the Awesome Music Show. So, while he prepares to come on, um, I'll just ask Nigel just to talk to us a little bit more about some of the things that he would want to see happen in possibly from his classroom for his students. I'm sure you can dream big for them, but they have to be dreaming big for themselves. So just before we get on, Mr. Tolo, you could just tell us what are some of the things that you would really want to see from your classroom as you teach on a daily basis.
Well, one of the biggest things I found, and one of the biggest factors in students being successful over the years, is parental involvement.
Mm-hmm.
The parents have to be an integral part
Yes.
of whatever takes place, and I'm not talking about providing lunch money or sending them off to school. You
Mm-hmm.
have to be active, very active. Attend your meetings. But not just that, check up,
On
do a
the
regular
child.
checkup.
Yes. Yeah.
Sometimes, I've been guilty of it myself. You call home only when, it's bad news, I've been guilty of
Yes.
that.
Yes. Yes.
But as parents, give the kids a call. And the fact is, you have to hold us accountable as well.
Mm-hmm.
Let us know that yes, you are there. You are there. We are responsible for that child for that 5 or 6 hours that you leave them in our care.
Yes.
But they spend more time with you over the weekends during the night. You have to ensure, okay, my child needs to get enough sleep.
Mm-hmm.
The child comes to school tired, they're not going to learn properly. They're not going to
Definitely.
learn everything that they need to learn. If there is a problem with providing meals, let us sometimes there might be programs that we can put in place to help, helping that, proper nutrition, proper sleep, and parents are very important in all of that. So for me, getting the parents involved,
Wow,
get
powerful,
them involved.
powerful, powerful. Because so many times we hear stories of students who get involved in criminal activities, maybe drugs, and when you check the background, you realize the father has been missing,
Yeah.
or the mother has been missing, or
Mhm.
in some cases they have no parental
Yeah.
support back
Mhm.
home.
Mhm.
So you're totally right with that, and we thank you for your contribution. All right, so I'm seeing Casey Royal also joining in the chat, bigging up Miss Juanita McCurdy Davis. Thank you so much. Also on the Instagram platform, we have Nikisha Smith and Anthony 7610, and also my good friend Sister Winsome Witter, host of the Serenity Show on YouTube and Facebook. Thank you so much for joining. That's a wonderful show that you all need to support as well, on the YouTube and Facebook platform, the Serenity Resource Connector. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for your support. All right. So at this moment, I want to bring live on the Awesome Music Show for the first time. He is a young Jamaican, a very ambitious Jamaican, and he will be on tonight to tell us about his journey from Jamaica to Ukraine. And now he's back in Jamaica. I'm sure a lot of you would understand why he is back. But tonight on the Awesome Music Show, I welcome live on the show Mr. Joel Tolo. Thank you so much for being on the show tonight, Mr. Tolo. How are you doing?
I'm doing good, brother Dale. Thank you for having me. Thank you.
Blessings, blessings, blessings. So it's a pleasure to have you on the show tonight, and I'm sure you've been listening into Mr. and Mrs. Johnson as we spoke about maintaining good mental health, and also to have Mr. Johnson talk about students making good educational choices. And you made a very, very great educational choice when you made that move to Ukraine. But before we go into all that details, I want to talk to you a little bit about your schools that you attended in Jamaica, especially your last school before going out. So tell us a little bit about that, and what was your experience like in those schools?
Okay. Well, my last school that I attended, I
Hmm.
attended two schools throughout my high school. I attended Maypen High School, private institution in Clarendon. After
Hmm.
graduating, I matriculated to sixth form, where I attended Calabar High School. So I spent 2 years
Yes.
at Calabar. So it's my most recent high school.
Hmm.
I spent 2 years there doing the sciences, participating in extracurricular activities, getting selected to represent Jamaica in Dubai for robotics,
Yes.
and
Yeah.
even getting
Remember that.
selected to go to Texas. So I spent 2 years there, and I've learned so many different things, so many different qualities. And it's also a Baptist school, so the Christ-like part was there as well. The Christ-like
Awesome.
influence also there. Yeah, so my high school journey was one that was very very educational because I learned so many things that I can apply today, in the real world. So it was a very great experience.
Okay, great, great.
Yeah.
And congratulations. I remember you going off to Dubai to represent Jamaica, and
Yeah.
that was really good. And also you said you were
Yes.
selected to represent Jamaica again in Texas. And it's really good that you can make that kind of contribution in a positive way. And I'm sure that will live on with you for a long time. So in terms of
Yes.
you've chose a field of medicine. Tell us exactly what influenced you to choose that field, because not everybody can handle the whole aspect of the hospital and caring for people and stuff like that. So tell us why you
Yeah.
chose that field in particular.
Well, I would say growing up, my mom is a nurse. She works at the Kingston Public Hospital. So
Yes.
majority of my time from school, I would spend at the hospital. So I would meet doctors, I would meet nurses. I would be fortunate enough to see operations. I could view the theater
Wow.
room. I could look from a distance, see surgeries, and it allowed me to have somewhat of a empathy towards patients, towards people coming in seeking treatment, seeking help, and it it stayed with me for a very long while growing up, and I'm always trying to contribute as best as I can to my country, to the society, and being a medical doctor is one that I can contribute to help as many Jamaicans as I can. And
Wow. Wow.
growing up, I've had so many little medical issues, and I was always at the hospital, and it it makes me believe that I can do so much more in other people's lives, and just being around that environment, being in that place, in that position, it changes you because it's things that you experience, and
Hmm.
it's one that you also have to have the love for. And I have the love for it, and I want to help, and doing medicine, I believe, is one of the best ways I can do that.
Okay, powerful, powerful.
Yes.
All right, so I want to take this time out to big up Sister Adora Royal and also Claudia Denny from the Old Harbor New Testament Church and all the members of the Old Harbor New Testament Church, Bishop Dixon, and every single member, and the entire Old Harbor community as well. And also, I want to big up your mom and father, Mr. and Mrs. Tolo, for being wonderful parents to you and your brother, and also to support you to this part of your life. And I'm sure they will endeavor to support you in all your endeavors. And that's really good. That's really good. So big up to everyone joining tonight from the Olaba area, and for all those who are sharing the link to other people. Thank you so much for joining. All right. So one of the things I'd want to ask though, which I'm sure a lot of people would want to know, is after leaving Calabar High School, you ventured into college. And it was not just UWI or anywhere in the Caribbean. You went all the way to thousands and thousands of miles away to Ukraine. Tell us about how you learned of that opportunity, and also what was it like going through that process to go to Ukraine?
I learned of Ukraine through a friend of mine who attended Calabar. He's
Hmm.
currently in third year of medical school, and
Hmm.
they told me about Ukraine. This very affordable, in comparison to UE. It's 4
Yes.
million Jamaican dollars per year for the tuition locally, and medicine is not cheap anywhere in the world. It's one of the most expensive courses one can take on
That's
financially,
true. That's true.
and
Yes.
Ukraine was one that was affordable for me, for not only me
Hmm.
but my parents, and it it was a case where there are other Jamaicans there that I knew, so it would be a case I would be away from home, but the other people, the other bond would be there. And
That's true.
that's how I
That's true.
learned of Ukraine. That's how I learned of it. And they were willing to accept me because I had the grades, I had the qualifications, and I could pay the tuition fee. So they were like, hey, come. Went through the process. You had to apply for Ukrainian visa, student visa. You can't just go. You have to have your visa. Had to
Hmm.
go for a US visa. You had to go through the different visa application process. I went through
Yes.
that, and the process was one that took a while, took around 3 4 months to just complete.
Mm-hmm.
And after the was completed, I ventured off to Ukraine
Yes.
in early November. Yeah, what it is like there, it's very nice. I would be honest with you. The language barrier is an issue, but majority of Ukrainians, they speak English or they know English. So it
Mm-hmm.
was it was a very good experience. Very cold, but it was a
Right,
very,
right.
very good experience. Different cultures and things. So
Mm-hmm.
it was wonderful.
Okay, great, great. So basically, you know a little bit of the Ukrainian language then, because you would have been there for a little while, so you would have been exposed to it somehow.
Yeah, a few words. A few words.
I can just imagine. I can just imagine. So that's really good, though. That's really good. So, because I know, it wasn't, it wouldn't have been an easy decision to go that far, leaving your family and your friends, but at
That far.
least you got
Yes.
an opportunity to be able to go and to pursue your education. All right. So what has the experience been like for you, though? While being there, especially because you have done, from my understanding, you have done about 3 years so far, or a little under 3 years so far.
Yeah.
What has the
Yes.
experience been like for
Yeah.
you so far?
Okay. The experience has been in Ukraine has been it was a good one, I must say. It was a
Hmm.
good one because there are different aspects of the you can learn. Being in
Yes.
Jamaica, we're only used to our culture. We're not used to different foods, different
Yes.
languages, different people, different races, and I was exposed to that, and I learned about different cultures. I learned about the language. I learned about what it is like living in a cold country as one.
Yes. Yes.
And I met friends, I met family, I had a home there, and it was really wonderful, a very wonderful experience. And your teachers are very nice, they speak English. So they can communicate with
That's
you, and
good.
most of them they're fans of Jamaica. They love Bob Marley, they love reggae. Always asking me reggae, 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 Bob Marley, Bob Marley. And I'm like, yeah. So even our culture is it's very international. So even Ukrainians, they love the Jamaican culture. They always want to come. So it was a wonderful experience there, my brother. A very wonderful experience.
That
If I
that's
could
good.
ask a quick
Yeah, man. Go
question,
ahead. Go ahead.
so was instructions provided? Did you get your instructions in English, like your lectures and so on? Were those in English?
Yes, they were English. The
Okay.
teachers, they are they're very brilliant in the sense that they speak their own language and they also speak English.
Okay, so they're bilingual.
So you in English, the course is in English, so everything is in English.
Okay.
Okay,
Yes.
that's good. That's good. All right. So there are some other questions that I could ask, but I really want to get to a pivotal point of the interview, because you're now back in Jamaica, and I'm sure possibly you would not be in Jamaica now if it wasn't for the situation that has developed in that region where there was an invasion. So tell us about the your experience with the invasion, because for most of us, we have seen this on TV and we never even wish to go anywhere close to it other than on the TV set. So tell us about your
Yeah.
experience. You were a student going to school every day, and all of a sudden you are hearing of this invasion. Tell us about how that affected you and some of your experiences since then.
Well, it's a very funny situation.
Hmm.
I was awake around 3:30 a.m., around 4 a.m. in the morning. Just came
Right.
off the call with my mother. She was
Hmm.
like, "Come on, that it's time that you should leave. The situation is it's at hand. Booked tickets and everything to leave for the
Hmm.
for the weekend, and
Yeah.
it was early Thursday morning, 4 a.m. I went to bed, went to lay down, trying to get some rest, and you just see the window started to shake.
Wow.
Wow.
The doors started to shake. shake, and then you see persons running out of their rooms. You could hear the explosion in the distance, and everyone started panicking. And everyone knew what it was. We all knew what it was because we were told of the threat, But our school was like, look, no invasion will happen.
Mm. Wow.
Stay, you can still use, etc., etc. However, 4 a.m. bombs were falling. At that point, I first because when it does drop anything, because that if one will fall and you stay inside the building, collapse. So it was a feeling of helplessness. Throughout that journey, we ourselves together, myself and the other Jamaican, we tried our best to think about the route that we could get to safety, and the closest thing that we could come up with was to go to Poland. And we endured different just to get to the border of Poland, walk for miles, encountering different angry citizens that want us to walk. They didn't want us to drive to the border, and it was very frightening because on the journey, through the journey, bombs were just dropping left and right, people screaming, people running,
Oh,
and it was very fearful. So me being here is a testimony, and it's one that is a happy ending for me. It's still a little
yes.
struggle, being trying to get back with school and everything, but I've been told
Hmm.
that life is one of the greatest things that you can have. So having life
Definitely.
is extremely wonderful for me. Yeah.
Wow, wow, that's powerful because I mean we all hear the stories of Jamaican students because there are some other Jamaicans there as well that were there as well. I'm not sure if there's any remaining now. I doubt that. But in terms of the
No.
distance you all had to travel, um, mainly by foot, I believe you were assisted at some points by bus, but mainly on foot.
Yeah.
And it's not like in a tropical climate like Jamaica, as a lot of people would say, hey, it's nice and warm. It would be in the cold, I think, in some parts snowing. So tell us a little bit about that.
Snow. Yeah, the journey was very long, trust me. Very, very long and very tiring. As you said, it's currently, if you live abroad in closer to the north, it's snowing. It's cold,
Hmm.
probably one negative degrees, 1 degrees, and Ukraine is so much to the north that it almost instant. And in the point that we
Wow.
were walking, it began to snow. And we were walking with bags because we had to carry our things that we wanted to save. We couldn't save everything, but you
Hmm.
probably want to save some clothes, some books, a shoe, something that has sentimental value that you won't want to leave, your passport, stuff
Can
like that.
imagine.
And we were carrying luggages. So imagine carrying luggages through the snow and cold. My hand literally started getting blisters because of the cold, and we were in the cold for hours. So even after 5, 6, 7 hours, we had to get to the border, and even at the border, we had to wait for next 6 hours because of the line. Everyone wants to leave Ukraine. Everyone wants to get to safety. Different students want to leave. Ukrainians want to leave, and we had to endure around 6 hours just at that line. So imagine 7 hours of walking, then 6 hours again waiting, and in the cold. A very good friend of mine, she got sick because of the cold, and she literally passed out. And it was up to us to try to get an ambulance for her, get her into the ambulance, and she's lucky enough to even be here with us as well. So the journey was very tiring and stressful, and some of our bodies couldn't take it because we're not used to it. As black people, we're not used to the cold. We're not meant for the cold. We're meant for warmer climate. So that
Definitely.
situation was very, very terrifying. But I'm here and I can give my story. Yeah.
Yes, yes. And we're happy that you're alive because we could have read in the news that, one of the bombs destroyed Jamaican village or destroyed the bus you guys were traveling on, or
Yes.
anything else could have happened. And even the worst could happen is that you guys could all still be there, not able to leave, with the unrest that's happening. So we're really, really grateful that you're alive to be telling us this. And I'm sure this will be a story that you will always remember throughout the rest of your life. Because for most of us, we're used to hearing gunshots and we're used to hearing maybe when the fireworks is happening, but in terms of hearing a bomb and the building shaking, the windows are shaking, and stuff like that, you just don't know what the next minute will be. So I can imagine the feeling you have had from that. So one of the things I'd want to know though, know that you're back in Jamaica, because I heard a part of the story of the other female that was sick, or she actually passed out, based on the situation that she was going through. You are now back in Jamaica because of the
Yes.
situation there. How long since you've been back, and what has life been for you since you've returned to Jamaica?
I've been back for, let's say, I can say roughly a month, almost two, let's say almost 2 months I've been back.
Hmm.
And life so far has been, it has been good, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
I'm home. My parents are trying to keep me fed. Normally living on your own, you have to do things
Hmm.
by yourself, but you have mommy and daddy that will try to take care of it. And being home, it's good because it's a safe environment. you know
Hmm.
it's safe because I'm not running from anything. I can
Yes.
sleep peacefully at night and not have to worry if I have to get up to go into a bomb shelter to sleep or spend the night. So it is very good. So other than that, other things such as progressing with school, it is being done. Different organizations are trying to assist. This pro is also trying to assist, and it's only good news that I can say. At first, when coming back, everyone was in limbo. We didn't know what to do. We didn't know where to go to seek funds, to get help. And so far, everything has been progressing. And before long, not before long, everything will be settled, and hopefully we'll be back in school full time, and we can be able to get to finish our degrees. So that is what we're looking forward to.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Great. Great.
Okay, and I have a quick question for you. Have you heard anything back from any news about what's going on over there in Ukraine? Whether there was any damage done to your school, or any news at all about
Ye-
from your school in particular, or your classmates? And
Yes, yes, there are news from our school. They try to keep us updated as many times as possible. They're trying their best to keep their students in terms of the infrastructure, the building of the school. Uh,
Hmm.
there are two main schools in Kharkiv that the Jamaican students attend. One is currently flattened,
wow,
Wow. Wow.
so
Wow.
there's for them. The other one that I attend, the schools are very close. So the bomb that dropped on that school, the blast radius took out the windows, took out
Mm.
probably some of the doors. It flattened the trees, but the building is still standing for my school. Hopefully, it stands when the war is over. But they're trying their best to keep us online. Join via Zoom, use the Google Classroom, and they're trying to keep us in classes. So that part is going so far. Yeah.
Wow, wow. I can just imagine that must be a challenge for them to still keep you guys connected via Zoom, with the instability
Yeah.
happening, and then with all that's happening. I'm so far away from it, but I'm so concerned because I know I can just imagine people, especially those who are displaced because of the situation. So
Yes.
I really think you guys are really, it's just a blessing of God that's keeping you all still around, and that's really so good. All right, I want to big up my very good brother and friend also, content creator. He has a show called the Too Strong Praise Moment. It's Michael Too Strong. Blessings to you, my brother, for joining as well and for sharing in this wonderful, wonderful, awesome interview. There is a song I started the show with. I just want to just play just a little bit of it before we continue. And we're going to be talking to Joel Tolo about his continuation. And he mentioned something a while ago, which will lead me to ask a question in terms of um, continuing his education, because that's the main thing. I mean, yes, there's a war, there's an invasion, you had to leave suddenly, but continuation has to happen. And you mentioned something that would lead me to ask you a question just after we listen to this song from Kama Irvin. I'm promoting this song because he was on the show a few weeks ago and he has released this song today on all digital platforms. So I want you to find this song on YouTube and just go and support this song as best as possible. Support the ministry of Kama Irvin. I Look to You, and that's a song that we want to just highlight for a few minutes on the Awesome Music Show. So be blessed as you listen this song. I Look to You, Baba. I look to you.
Baba, I look to you, only you.
Powerful
Where
song,
would I
and it's more
be
than fitting for the
if
type
it
of show we're
wasn't
having tonight,
for
because
you?
we know that with all that's happening around
What
the
would
world,
I
we can only
say
look to God. We can look to the
if it
government, we can look to the
wasn't for
politicians,
your
we can look to so many
grace?
other sources, but God is the ultimate source
Where
that
would
we all
I
need to look up.
go
All those who are
if
joined
I
on the Instagram
didn't
platform,
have
thank you so much
you?
for joining.
I look to you, Baba, I look to you. I look to you, Baba, I look to you. I look to you, Baba, I look to you. I look to you, Baba, I look to you. No food on my table, Lord, what do I do? No money in my pocket, oh, what do I do? When all is well, Lord, who do I look
Want to give shout
to?
out to IQ Music, Mr.
I look
Zabdil
to
Stone, and the wonderful production
you,
house
Baba,
there in Mandeville,
I
IQ
look
Music.
to you. I look to
Nicole
you,
Robinson,
Baba,
R. King,
I
Benicia
look
Stone,
to
and all those who are
you.
under that label.
And
Want
I
to big you
call
up on
your
the Awesome Music Show right now.
name, Jesus, I call your name. I call your name, for your name is great. When there seems to be no hope, what do I do? When I feel like I am dying, Lord, what do I do? When there's nobody to turn to, who do I look to? I look to you, Baba,
We look to God. We look to God because He
I
is the
look to
ultimate
you.
source of everything
Baba,
that we
I
need.
look to you.
Karma Irvin,
I
single
look
release
to
just today, April 1.
you. Baba, I look to
Baba, I look to you.
you.
Find him on social
I
media
look
and
to
all digital platforms and support the
you.
ministry of
Baba,
Karma Irvin
I look to
right here on the Awesome Music Show. All right. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for being a part of the Awesome Music Show. And we have live on the music platform. We have live on the Awesome Music Show today. We're talking to medical student Joel Tolo, and he was a medical student. He is a medical student in Ukraine, and we also have as our co-host we had Mrs. Simone Johnson, who is a nurse educator and also registered nurse, and we have still remaining with us our co-host Mr. Nigel Johnson, who is a math educator. And we are really, really happy to have these persons on tonight because this show tonight is not necessarily about music. And I've always told people, not because it's the awesome music show, means that every single show is going to be about music. We also want to educate the family as well, which is what we're doing. So, my brother, you have mentioned that you have heard that there is the one of the administrative buildings for your school has been flattened, and they're still trying to keep you guys going with your educational continuation. So, one important question I would love to know: would you return to Ukraine when things get normal? And I'm sure you, Mr. Johnson, will be asking the same, would be wondering the same thing. Would you, with all the bombings and all that you have heard and all that you have seen on the news, would you go back once things are settled?
To be honest, not at all. Not at all. It's not possible nor feasible at all. You
Okay,
know?
okay.
Can't really keep running forever. And if I mention that to my parents, nope,
Yeah.
it's not happening. You know, so yes, it's
Right,
not
right,
happening
right,
at all.
right, right. All right. So one of the challenge. What's one of the main challenge? Because from what I'm hearing, I think I saw two of the other students, and they mentioned some difficulty getting transcripts and stuff like that. What's your What's your immediate challenge now? Excuse me. What's your immediate challenge now in terms of the sudden stop of your studies, but in terms of continuing, what would be your main challenge in terms of continuing your studies?
Okay. Well, that would be transcript.
Mm-hmm.
The transcript is very, it's very necessary, integral, because a lot of schools want to know what you have been doing, especially with medicine. It's very delicate, a very delicate course, and persons teach medicine differently in different countries. The process is different, the curriculum is different. So the
Mm-hmm.
transcript is the main document that is needed right now. The government
Mm-hmm.
has written to our different universities and
Mm-hmm.
requesting the said document, and
Right.
it's just a matter of time to just hear the response. They're really against, let me not say against, but they're really hesitant in giving it, because they made their money, their economy is based on international students. So many international students, as you can see, they were leaving Ukraine.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So they're a little hesitant in giving it up because they want to keep their students. They're trying to keep their students. So the transcript is that document that is needed for me to continue my studies elsewhere. So it has been requested. So it's just to wait and see if it will come now or later.
Okay, okay, great. And you mentioned earlier that you all have been getting support from the Jamaican diaspora, which is really good. And I've heard in other news items too that you guys were assisted somehow through the ministry, Jamaican government, which is good. There were contrary news reports previously, and then when I heard that you guys were assisted somehow, then I was happy. So you can take some time to big up anyone that has been assisting you guys from the Ukraine side to Jamaica, and presently you can use a few moments in the show to give some shout outs to them as well.
Alright, well, I would say I would want to thank, as I said, Jamaican diaspora. They are helping. They are trying their best to assist us with transferring to different universities if it's even in America. And
Hmm.
I want to give special thanks. I can't leave God out. To be honest. So
Definitely,
that
definitely.
He's first and He's always utmost. Thank my family, especially. They're the backbone of my being. So I want to thank them. I want to thank even the church that has helped to pray. For my safe return. I want to
Hmm.
thank friends and distant families. Home and abroad, even the visit. Thank you for tuning in as well. So that's where I would put my thanks. Yeah.
Okay, blessings, blessings. All right, just wanna shout out to my aunt Lorna Morrison. Thank you so much for being a part of the Awesome Music Show as well, and for supporting. Yeah, thank you. I try to do my best with the shows. So yes, making my family proud. All right. So do you have any questions or any thoughts for Mr. Tolo?
Oh,
Because I
well.
mean, it's really an exciting interview, and I'm learning so much from this whole situation. I had to laugh when I asked you the question if you would return, because that I'm sure everybody would be asking, "Whoa, would you really go back to
Same.
a place that you know tomorrow morning there might be bombs dropping outside your window?" So I had to laugh when you mentioned that you would not be going back, and I'm sure the Ukrainian government would understand. It's a big psychological gap for any student to come back in that situation to study. It's unfortunate, but you really don't have no control over the situation, and you have to take the best care of yourself and your safety. All right, go ahead,
Yeah.
Mr. Johnson.
Yes, Joel. So
Definitely. So,
one of my question is, so what would you say to a child who say, you know what, school is too hard. There are other things I could be out there doing. It's time for me to quit a formal education, move on to something else, whether it is to join a criminal gang or something like that. What would you say to that child? Given your experience, you're literally in a life or death situation. For in pursuit of your education. What would you say to a child like that? Who's ready to give up. Ready to just throw
well,
in the towel and move on.
yes, there are so many times that I myself want to give up, and it it's very imperative that I remember, how far I am coming from. So if there is anyone that is in that position today, it's important to always seek a friend before you need a friend, and that is Christ, because
Hmm.
He has all the best plans for you. And I I am no preacher, but I can say with God all things are possible. So even in doubt or disbelief, it's always important to trust in God, and He will make a way. He answers prayers. That's the best advice I can give to anyone. It doesn't matter who you are, he's omnipresent. So in anything that you do, it's always important to remember Him firstly. Secondly, it's always good to never give up, good to try. Always try to give back to society in a good way. They normally say if you live by the gun, you die by the gun, and you will see that. So it's always good to try to do what's right, and we know what's right. Remember God in all things that we do, and even if the path seems hard, always try to persevere. If it takes 2 years, 3 years, 4 years, if it's a dream, you work towards it, and surely will become reality. So yes, never give up, and always remember God in everything. Yes.
Yeah,
Yes.
and I can say that I am testimony to that. I am the sum of many, many prayers, a whole lot of them. I am that.
Yes.
And my final question to you is, well, let's say you have the ear of every person on this planet right now. What message would you send to them? What would you say to everybody who's listening to Joel Tuller? What would you say to them?
Well, I would say thank you first of all. If you've prayed for me, if you've tried to help me out of Ukraine, I would say thank you first of all. And
Yes.
I would say thank you for helping me, because in this way I'm able to help others, probably save a life in the future. So they
Hmm.
said each one helps one, you know. They say it takes
That's
a
true.
village to raise a child. So anyone that is listening today, you know, I would want to say thank you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart, you know, thank you. And I hope that God blesses you in double in everything that you do. So thank you. Yes. Thank you is what I would say.
Yes, blessings, blessings. And I want to just, from the Awesome Music Studios too, and from all of us here, I want to thank all those who have helped to get all the Jamaican students back to Jamaica, the government of Jamaica, the diaspora, and those who helped in different ways with transportation, with processing of the documents. We want to just say thanks from the Awesome Music Show, from the Awesome Music Studios, because you have done a great deal. We haven't heard of any losses of life, and that's the greatest thing. You know, we can always continue online or to other institutions or anything like that, but we are not planning any Thanksgiving services or anything now because of your contribution to these wonderful students. All right, so I'm not sure how you'd want to do it, but before you go, I'd really want to big up your mom and your dad for their support. I'm sure it has cost them a lot to get you back. You may not have come back with a lot of your stuff, but guess what? You can always replace those things. The only thing you can't replace is that
Yeah.
one life
Yeah.
that God has given you, and you still have that.
Right.
So I really would want to
Yes.
open the platform tonight to anyone who would want to help Joel Tolo and his family in any way, whether it be financially or otherwise. You may have contacts that you can link them to for his educational continuation or anything. I'm not sure if you would want to give your number or your mom's number or an email address that people can reach out to you, and I'll promote it as best as I can on the platforms. But I'm sure at this point, your resources possibly have been expended quite a lot, and I know what that is for your family. And you are a very, very decent student, and we would want to see you finish your studies
Definitely.
wherever in the world you may
Yeah.
go and come back to serve, because you I can sense that heart of service from you, and you'll be helping people. Now with this situation, you're going to even be a better doctor, more passionate doctor, because you know what you went through
Yeah.
finish your studies. So if you'd want to share your number, you can go ahead and share your number, or if you want to share an email address or your
Okay.
mom's number, whatever you're comfortable doing, you can go ahead and do that, and I'll try my best to promote that as well.
Okay. And type it in the chat.
Okay,
And you will have quite a testimony when you're finished, Joel.
definitely, definitely.
This will be quite a testimony.
Yes, yes, Brother Johnson.
Yeah,
I tell you,
forward
Brother
to hearing
Johnson.
that
So,
one.
All right. So if you
yes,
want,
sir.
you
Yes,
could
sir.
put it in the private chat, and then
Yes, I
I will
put
just.
that's my.
Okay, okay, okay. All right. So this would definitely be a Ukrainian number. So we can contact him via WhatsApp on this number. I would hasten to say WhatsApp, and you can reach out to him in any way, shape, or form and support him in his educational pursuits. And this would be really, really appreciated. I'm sure his family is really, really his family is really, really happy to have him back. His church community, I'm sure Pastor Dixon and all the members of the Old Harbor New Testament Church are very, very elated to have you back in one piece. And we're not mourning the loss of anyone, and we're really, really happy to have you back. So, for those who would want to reach out to Joel, we have two numbers here, and I'm sure you can reach him on either of these numbers on WhatsApp. It's 38093 258 8033. 32, or you can reach out to him on his Jamaican number 311 312 5651, and you can
Wow.
reach out to him on any of those numbers. I know them personally, and I know these people are really decent Jamaican citizens just trying to make the best of life. And I'm sure whatever help we can do, I wanted to have you on this show tonight because I'm sure someone will see this broadcast and they will be able to reach out to you and you can get some form of help. And your continuation of your education is what we would love to see, because you have a big dream and we want to see you fulfill
Yes,
that dream. It would I would really have loved to have your mom or dad on, but we can always plan another show for
sure. Yeah.
for a later date to have them on, because I'm sure they would love to tell their side of the story as your parents as well. So we're really happy to have you on. So tonight, I'm not sure if you have a final sentiment that you would want to leave with a young person, because a lot of young people don't even have the willpower to even pack their bags and go that far to pursue their education, because they
Yeah.
don't want to do anything hard. We see it on the news every day. We see it on the streets. A lot of young men your age feels it's easier to join a gang or to travel with some drugs overseas or drive a flashy car. But guess what? You have ignored all of that and you are pressing towards the mark of becoming a medical doctor. Very, very noble profession, very noble calling. And you have seen firsthand by going to various medical institutions with your mom and other places, and that has developed into you this deep call for service. So if there's anything that you want to say to us as we close tonight, that you want to say to young persons, parents as well, supporting your child, because parental support is really paramount. And as Mrs. Johnson spoke about your mental health, I'm sure this has some psychological effect on you. So I hope through all the help that you guys are getting, there's someone trying to cater to the mental side of things. So tell us anything that you'd want to leave us with, a final thoughts for the awesome music show tonight and for our
Yes.
viewers.
Yes. Well, for any young persons listening, is the key to success, as we will always say. And to any parent, it's important to support your child. They're the future. Emotional support, physical support, mental support, as we talk today. So it's all good to support your child in whatever way you can. And to all the
Yes.
viewers, thank you for listening and thank you for our story. And I hope to see you, or you can hear from me again when I get the money in church. So thank you.
All right, all right. Blessings, blessings, blessings. Because God is good, and trust me, He loves when we put Him at the forefront. Because if it wasn't for God, then we would be reading the news from a different script, on the show. And I try to do positive shows at all times, because
Yes.
there's so much negative news that I could flood social media with, but I try to stay on the positive, awesome side. All right, so Nigel, what are your final thoughts for our viewers tonight? I'm sure there's so much more that we could go into, but we have to respect people's time, and we know that a lot of people logged on just to support the show tonight. But what are your final thoughts as we close tonight?
Well, it was really my pleasure being here tonight,
Hmm.
and it's really good to have met Joel tonight, a young man who will stand up. He has already stood up in the
Yes,
community as a beacon for others to look on. You have a work to do, sir. You do have a work to do. You're going to pull others in. You're going to pull others to Christ and help them to change your direction. So thank you for that, and just continue to allow God to use you.
definitely, definitely.
Thank you.
So that's really powerful. If you have joined on any of the platforms tonight, and I'm not able to say, Mr. Cavell Johnson, thank you so much. Another Old Harbour native. Thank you so
That's my
much for
colleague from Old Harbor. That's my
Old Harbour
colleague
High
from Old
School.
Harbor. Hey.
yes, on the Instagram platform. Thank you so much for joining. We're configuring different devices just to make sure that everyone on every platform can be a part of this tonight. And we really thank you for your support. So, Mr. Calvell Johnson, thank you so much. I have shared with the Old Harbor High School last year in one of their devotional exercise, and it was really, really a pleasure. And it's a school that I'm sure is doing well or has been doing well over the years in music, in academics, in track and field, you name it. They have been doing well. So thank you so much for joining tonight, Sir Cavell. And to Mr. Tolo, thank you so much for being on the show. You have done well. And we will continue to support from whatever aspect we can, and we'll be sharing your contact details so that other people can reach out to you to help and your family in this transition. And to the government, the diaspora, friends of the diaspora, those who are helping, thank you so much for your contribution. And we all come together as a team to make this happen for the students of Ukraine. All right, so take care, Mr. Tolo, and all the best. Give my regards to your family and also to your little brother. I'm sure you will be a great inspiration to him, because to go that far and
Yes,
to come back and you can sit with him one on one and talk to him, I'm sure this is a very, very good inspiration and motivation for him. So take care as you go tonight and be blessed. And thank you for being on the Awesome Music
yes.
Show.
Thank you for having me, man, and same to you. And Mr. Johnson, take care as well.
You take care, sir.
All right, all right. Blessings, blessings, my brother. Take care. Take care. All right, so ladies and gentlemen, there you have it, Mr. Joel Tolo, a medical student, almost said a former medical student, but he's still a medical
Yeah.
student of Ukraine. With all that has happened there and is still happening, we have no idea when this invasion will stop, because we are seeing mixed reactions in the news, and also things that some of us can't figure out. But we thank God that he is back home. All the other students are back home. And as difficult as it is for them to continue with their educational studies, we know that God will make a way, whether it be in the US, in Canada, wherever the government will find favor with another country. We are sure that they will do well, because they have a burning desire, despite the bombings, despite the shellings, and whatever they may have faced in Ukraine, walking for 7 miles in the cold and snow with loads on their back with their belongings and documents. I'm sure that was a very, very tiring experience, one that many of us would not be able to walk a mile. And there's a famous Jamaican artist asking, "Can you walk a mile in my shoe?" And I'm sure a lot of us would not be able to do just 1 mile in that cold, but he did several hours, and also getting to the Poland border and having to stand
Six
again for another
hours.
6 hours just to get processed, to leave, to get on an aircraft, and to get to a place of safety. I'm sure many of us can only imagine what he has been through. So to have him on the show tonight, it's really, really a pleasure. And he has really done well. He has spoken well, and he has defended and delivered very, very well. Miss Bailey, St. Mary representing, thank you so much for joining as well and for being a part of the Awesome Music Show. Always supporting. Thank you so much for your support. So tonight, as we close, I want to just thank you so much for being uh, supporters of the Awesome Music Show. I could not do this without your help, without your comments, without your prayers. And as we grow the show to from strength to strength, and as we improve on our delivery or views or sound, everything on content, we want you to stay on this journey with us. So I want to invite you to join me again this Monday, April 4, for a very, very special guest who will be on from Florida, USA. She is the author of a book and she is also a speaker, well known, and she will be on the show on Monday to do the awesome word of the week, and then she'll be back on Friday to be interviewed for her new book that was just released. So we'll tell you more about our wonderful guests. So you need to join us on Monday for that show as well. All right. So be blessed as we go tonight. It's been my pleasure hosting the show. And anything you wanna end with tonight?
Just that it was great being here.
All right, awesome. So we had to capture Mr. Johnson and his wife tonight because and we need to have part two just to have them on the show. But it was a pleasure being your host tonight, and for all those who are joining on Instagram and on YouTube and Facebook simultaneously, thank you so much for being on the Awesome Music Show. So be blessed as we go tonight. Take care and see you on Monday, April 4 at 12 midday EST. So as we do the awesome word of the week every single Monday with a new guest. All right, be blessed and we will talk soon. My name is Dayle Thompson, and as always, it's another awesome day given to us by an awesome God to do some awesome things. And be blessed, take care, have a great night. See you soon.